Welcome to Learn Psalm 121 with Legos, verse 1 and verse 2. When you first think about learning Psalm 121 in Hebrew, it can look intimidating, even the English. Remember that Psalm 121 is a song, written like a Hebrew poem. So let's look at a different format that better reflects the Hebrew. As you can see, Hebrew breaks up the verses into smaller meaningful phrases that will be easier to learn. Let's change the Lord to Adonai, which stands for the Tetragrammaton Yud He Vav He. Notice that the first two verses are different than the rest of the psalm. These two verses are in the first person singular. The psalmist is talking about himself. The rest of the psalm is in the second person singular. Someone is talking to the psalmist about Adonai. It could be that the psalmist is talking to himself, to his soul, encouraging himself in a difficult time. You can see how the psalmist asks a question in the first verse. Then he answers his own question in the second verse. Perhaps because he is in the mountains alone, he shouted out in frustration, "Where is my help?" And then heard the echo of his own voice, "My help." And then he may have remembered that his help will come from Adonai. Let's look at these two verses now with the Hebrew. For the rest of the video, we are going to show you how the Hebrew grammar works using Legos. Here is the first phrase in Legos. The red Legos are for the English words. The blue Legos are for the Hebrew words. The red Legos in English will reflect what is going on with the blue Hebrew Legos. The red English Legos and the blue Hebrew Legos reflect each other like a mirror. That is because you read Hebrew from right to left and English from left to right. In Hebrew, Psalm 121 contains 62 words, but in English, it contains 77 words. That means in Hebrew, you lose 15 words or English Legos. Hebrew has two ways to lose those 15 words. One way is to delete unnecessary words that Hebrew doesn't have. This example shows that Hebrew doesn't have indefinite articles. The Legos show how, unlike English, Hebrew is a fusional language, meaning that it fuses together units of meaning, while English has separate words to get across the same idea. Let's look at the next phrase, "I will raise my eyes to the hills." Notice that the yellow letters in the Hebrew Legos correspond with the yellow letters in the English Legos. For instance, you can see where the yud at the end of the word means my in English. From where will come. My help may seem awkward in English, but you can still understand. This arrangement of the Legos shows what is going on with the Hebrew. As you become familiar with this turn of phrase, it will help you learn Hebrew grammar in more traditional courses. So now you have the first verse of Psalm 121 in Legos. Pause the video and read it over carefully. The English Lego, from with, is a bit awkward, but it's a direct translation. Sometimes the English will say, the maker, or, who makes, but in the Hebrew, it is just, maker. Now you have verse 2 in Legos. Notice that the English word, and, is merged into the word for earth, by using the letter Vav. If you'd like to learn the rest of the verses from Psalm 121 through Legos, click the subscribe button below in order that you can be notified when they are published.